Literally 15 years ago, I started VaynerMedia. I was in the wine retail business running my dad's wine store. And in 15 short years, we built a 2,000 person global agency for Procter & Gamble and Pepsi and Fanatics. Like we're it. Like I was just in Miami at PossibleCon. Like everyone knows in advertising, the madmen, like the people that do the advertising for BMW and for the Gap and for Exxon, like the biggest, that world, everyone knows they're on call that I'm coming to get them. And the reason we're winning is that now that social media, organic creative is the starting point of marketing. Organic social media, the reason I wrote Day Trading Attention, which is the follow-up to Jab, 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 Right Hook. The reason I wrote it is because as we sit here today, the single most important thing in all of marketing is first and foremost, organic social media. Then everything else.
Go off on that.
Well, the reason to even have a podcast is more about the clips for organic social than the podcast itself. Like I literally did Garyvee, and I did Ask Garyvee and Garyvee for the social media clips, not for the long form. I even still do podcasts as a guest because Dustin's sitting right there D-rocking it, and we're gonna clip it, and there's gonna be 3 or 4 or 7 things. Social media organic, more important than commercial, more important than your email newsletter, more important than a billboard, more important than hiring Beyonce to be in your Super Bowl spot, big shout out Verizon, more important to anything else. If you are not the best in the world at organic social media, and the way I define that, as because I know you two have been paying attention for a long time, is I'm one of the few humans that equally has 5 million followers on LinkedIn as I have 15 million followers on TikTok. I'm talking cross-platform. I'm talking YouTube Shorts. I'm talking Snap Spotlight. I'm talking Instagram. I'm talking YouTube proper, YouTube Shorts. I'm talking podcast. I'm talking newsletter. I'm talking for real. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's just a fun time to be on this show because you were saying right before, you're so sweet. Like, I love you guys. Like, you're like, what's a win for you, Gary? I said, whatever's best for your audience right now, right? And you said, our audience is starting to figure out that like everyone could be an influencer. And I said, fuck, man, you couldn't even imagine how that hit for me. I'm like, I fucking sat and wrote this book in 2008. And I wish you knew how nobody believed me. Not my publisher, not my ghostwriter, not the audience. People, shit, go look at the Amazon reviews when I first put this out. Literally people wrote things like, this snake oil salesman's trying to tell you you're gonna make $100,000 a year on YouTube. What a joke. Think about what a joke that comment is now.
I think people, they're scared of the unknown, and it was the unknown. And what I like about you personally is that you always go for the unknown. Everyone is so scared of the uncertainty and the unknown and what they don't know, and they don't like it and they fear it, so they hit against it.
They don't like change either.
Right, and then other things that happen, especially for influencers and creators, is they get good at something and they want to hold on. The reason so many people fucked up the TikTok moment was they got 1 million followers on Instagram and they wanted to stay there because it felt cozy, because their ego liked the blue check mark and the 1 million followers, so they didn't start setting up shop on TikTok because they didn't want to start at 0. I get fired up to start at 0. I'm pumped. like, it's true. Like, I love having 60 people watching me on Twitch right now while I stream from my office on mute because everything is private information. And all my friends.
Wait,
and
how many people are watching?
60. Like, I'm just putting it on to test. 42. Like 28. Like, but could I get more? Sure, as Dustin knows, like if I go on Instagram Live for 2 seconds and say, come over here, then that's 400. But like, I'm not Clicks, I'm not Booga, I'm not Kai Cenat, I'm not Aiden Ross. I don't have the time right now to sit in front and stream for 15 hours a day. Do I think I could do that well? I sure do. I think I can gab with audience for 15 straight hours and crush. But that's not in the cards for me right now. I'm operating. I'm building an enormously big IP called VFriends, and I'm building the biggest advertising agency in the world. Yeah, I'm busy.
And so when I saw that as a full circle moment, I was like, oh, okay, there's a way to do this long form content and go and speak and do all the things that we all do, but you can still be a great operator. And this just reinforces the main thing. But and there's a lot of people out there selling a lot of stuff, I'm sure,
yes.
and get rich quick schemes and what to do. And I'm like, if they're just selling you on the idea that like they're selling you on something and they don't have the actual infrastructure, like, you gotta be really careful.
It's my biggest argument in marketing right now. There's a lot of marketing professors and pontificators. I'm like, if you're so good, why doesn't your book sell?
Uh-huh.
Like, this, to your point, get rich quick, we all know that that's played out.
Yep.
Like people still get away with it, but like people are getting smarter at that and they're not as loud and as noisy as they used to be.
Yeah.
It smells. There's something that smells about it.
More
people
importantly, it's just a simple question. Like if you're so good at marketing, why doesn't your shit sell?
Right.
Like every author that writes a marketing book that the book doesn't crush is a weird situation. Like,
Nice way of saying it.
Like, if you're supposed to be so good at marketing, why doesn't your book sell?
What would you say to someone? I can't wait to hear what you would say to someone that says, I'm too busy to create content. Because you have 60 million companies. I'm looking at this list. Guys, I'm gonna read it in the beginning of this episode.
It's gonna take half the episode.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Please go off on what you would say to someone, I'm too busy to create content.
You don't believe in demand creation.
What does that mean?
You don't believe that creating new customers or consideration for what you're doing is important.
So they just want to appeal to who they have?
Do you know companies that are really great at sales, what they're also bad at marketing and branding? If you're a sales organization, that means it's not coming to you.
You're going out.
You're going out and hunting.
Right.
I love sales, and I love when companies do both.
Yes.
But if you're only about sales, it means you don't know how to market and brand. Because when you know how to market and brand, it comes to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when I hear that, I'm like, oh, that person doesn't understand that content on social networks in April of 2024 is the single most important thing in the world to do great, to get people to come to you versus you go chasing it. They're too busy oftentimes operating and selling, when if they understood that branding and marketing would accomplish the selling and free up time to operate. VaynerMedia doesn't even do RFPs anymore. This is very nerdy marketing talk, the request for proposal. We don't do it. We don't need to. Give me the business because you know we're the best. That's a good game. It's a lot more fun when you go out to the club when it's coming to you versus you running after it.
Yeah, because there's no desperate energy.
No shit.
Yeah.
You know what's funny too?
That's what you want. By the way, that's what you want with men.
Of course.
That's what you want when you're being chased as a woman.
Of course.
Think, come to me, bitch.
Of course.
You know what too? I also personally, I think Lauren and I both realize we're really bad at we're really bad at the sell.
Me too. By the way, I don't like selling either.
No, I don't
like it. I
like
really
it.
don't like it. It's why I like marketing and branding so much.
Yeah, I like
it. Think about what just happened in the meta here. Gary, what would be a win for you? Let me do branding. Let me bring value to the audience. Then of course they're gonna want to buy the kids' book. Then of course they're gonna want to buy, I don't want to, what am I gonna say? Buy my book? Like, no shit. Like when people go do the Today Show or podcast, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? No, the audience, what do you think? Nobody understands, like you go do a podcast, you have a new book coming out. What do you think they want to happen? Of course you'd want your book to do well. For me, my book's gonna do well. There's no scenario where my book is not gonna do well.
And why is that, and how is that from a micro level? Like, how do you look at it? When you are ready to launch a book, how do you look at it as opposed to other people?
I look at it at this point as, do I have something to say that's gonna create more of you two? The reason day trading intention's fun for me, and I don't know if you've gotten to skim it or read it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, it's because even you two that are winning, there's real shit in there that you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
No, for
Well,
sure.
by the way, I have all your books. It's not just this book, it's all your books.
Well, that's it.
Anyone can open your book and highlight.
I write books on the concept of marketing and branding in the current world that are good for even the people at the highest levels, which then of course is gonna matter for the people that are just starting out, which was the waitress you.
Yeah.
I write books that both will crush for you when you were waitressing and crush for you right now in the midst of you building your empire.
And
you know how epic that is for me?
You also don't write books for money.
Well, sure, but sure.
I think it doesn't feel like that.
Of course not. It's not enough money in it for me.
Right. But it seems like you do it because
I want to be historically correct.
You also
and I want to impact. To me, $1 billion isn't intoxicating. You two looking at me with the admiration through your 4 eyes is the intoxication. Admiration is $1 trillion.
Has it changed over this 2 decades? It's always been the same.
It's always been the same.
It's always been the same.
It's always been the same. My favorite people to interact with are the kids I grew up with that knew me for real. Everyone now is like, oh, Gary, it's different now because you got the money. I'm like, you don't know me. You don't know 27-year-old me that was exactly this person making $61,000 a year.